All right, traders, yesterday I mentioned I want to catch you guys up on what we're looking at this week for the fundamentals, but today I want to talk about the technicals and a little bit of the fundamentals. All right, a little bit. Let's roll the intro. All right, guys, what's going on? Hope you guys are having an awesome week this week. Monday session, things were pretty calm. We didn't have too much data that got pushed out this week, but Tuesday, by the time most of you guys will be watching this, we do have some things popping up. All right, we had an ECB meeting. Draghi's going to be speaking again about his bond buying program. He's going to be speaking again on Wednesday. That's when all four of those central banks are meeting, by the way. All right, that's going to be an important day that we're going to keep up on. We have a current accounts data that's going to be pushed out for the New Zealand dollar. Right now, they're looking to see a trade surplus. That would mean basically that there is more money coming into the economy from outside investors, right? So if there are investors that want to start doing different types of buying and selling of different products and services and potential commodities inside of New Zealand, then they're going to be functioning at a surplus. If there are no economies interested in what New Zealand has going on, then no one's going to be buying New Zealand dollars, which means the currency is going to stay flat. All right, so if we see that there is a trade surplus from last month, that might be an inclination that maybe there is more investment public heading over to the New Zealand dollar. Here's a quick screenshot here of the NZD USD. You guys can see markets have been selling off quite a lot. All right, there was a quick little push up in the structure for a second, but markets ended up pushing back down into the lows, and potentially we might be seeing markets break those lows, especially if that data that comes out tomorrow is in the red. We'll keep an eye on it. I'm not putting all of the price action or all of the say-so or where that market's going to go based on the fundamentals. Guys, look, I'm not going to argue with you about technical versus fundamentals. There are a lot of you guys that rationalize and understand that fundamentals play a massive part of where prices are going in FX. And then there are some of you guys who think that fundamentals have no implications as what how currency markets are even moving. That's a horrible way of thinking. That's not even, it doesn't even make any sense. If you look at the largest currency moves in all of history, they happen because of fundamental implications. Okay, so there is no argument on fundamentals are not working, they don't really exist, blah, blah, blah. You have to rationalize how the sentiment, how the overall market participants are going to be reacting off of the data that's being pushed out of these different central banks, all these different government entities like the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Treasury Department. They give out a lot of numbers in a lot of different regards. And where you can rationalize and say, okay, this is the way the Fed may interact with this data, that may give you an idea as to where prices may go because of the overlying sentiment of where markets can even do, right? So, for example, we sold off massively in April. We sold off massively in May as well for the US dollar. Folks, that was because they were pricing in a massive amount of data. They were pricing in the fact that we were probably going to be raising rates in June. Okay, that didn't happen because the Fibonacci crossed the moving average. Okay, I get it. I love technicals. We use technicals. This is a technical video for the week, right? But our directional bias has to be derived from what markets are doing from a fundamental perspective. There is no argument there, okay? If you want to argue about it, shoot me a DM or I'll put my email down below and we can talk through it. But don't dismiss fundamental analysis as if it has no functioning process in how a trader should be trading. That's an irrational way of thinking, okay? It doesn't make any sense. We'll be talking more about that as we move along and as the weeks progress, and how fundamental data plays a role in currency market movement because it's just the way it is, okay? You can't fight it. Outside of that, folks, if you guys take a look right now at where we are on the Euro USD, you see markets did sell back off. Once Draghi mentioned on Thursday that he may not be able to raise rates until 2015. We're doing some research on our end trying to figure out why the hell the Euro sold off. He mentioned he was stopping QE, but the Euro sold off. It was really weird. Okay, here's 4 different Euro crosses from Thursday. You guys can see that the Euro had a massive sell-off during that time. So again, what happened? Well, Draghi, again, he mentioned that he's going to stop QE, but he also mentioned that he won't be able to raise rates until the end of 2019, maybe even into 2020. That's a big deal, okay? You want to see some type of rate raise happen because that's how the carry trade works. That's how investors earn money on their principal capital that they have invested into an economy. It's really important to eventually start raising rates. This low rate environment that exists right now in all economies is very rare. It's something that should not be happening, but it is, and it's just based off the current infrastructure of our capital market system. It's a little messed up, all right? It's a little messed up. So we saw the Euro sold off quite a bit. Let's see what he says on Tuesday in regards to the whole situation, and then Wednesday is going to be that big meeting with everyone speaking over, again, the entire global market economy as a whole. Where do I think this Euro can go? Well, I'm going to go into the charts so you guys can see exactly what I want to see from this Euro USD. If the Euro overall, if this Euro tends to slide a bit, there are some pairs that I want to play that on that are better than others, because if we continue to see some US dollar strength and we get that Euro slide, that's probably a good pair to play, right? But if we get, let's say, for example, NZD weakness and we're getting Euro weakness, we probably don't want to play the Euro NZD, correct? So we'll go over to the charts. I'll show you guys the specific pair I want to play. Also, GBP CHF is something that I was looking out for. I really like the structure on this thing. I'm thinking that we get a push back up into structure. I think we'll see some pound strength this week. That's something I'm looking for, but we'll go over to the charts and I'm going to show you guys what I have going on, all right? If you guys need any help, if you guys need any more guidance, head over into the bio. There's a link there. I have this video segment that we just pushed out called 6 Tips of Profitability. I'm really excited about it. I want you guys to check it out. Outside of that, like the video for your boy, folks. I really appreciate it. Let's head over to the charts. Let's see what this market's looking like, all right? Let's head over to the charts. All right, guys, so checking out this Euro, if you guys take a look here, let's roll over to the daily. Let's see what we're looking like. That Thursday is what you guys are looking at right here. Look at that massive sell side move back down in the structure. You guys got to understand, this is interesting because throughout this same time, throughout these days here, maybe a day before, I think it was Wednesday, the Fed had a rate hike and they heightened rates by 25 basis points, all right, by 0.25, right? And we saw literally no sell side move. The only time we saw a sell side move was when this Euro when Draghi ended up speaking about what we mentioned earlier in regards to him not being able to start to raise interest rates at a later date. That was the surprise, right? That was the market not having that data priced in and the market going, whoa, are you serious? We didn't know that was happening. The rate hike was already priced in. There was a 97% likelihood that we were going to heighten rates 3, 4, 5 weeks out. That's why markets were moving sell side. But the surprise factor, folks, is why the market moved sell side for that Euro USD, bringing in some strength for that US dollar. So that's always interesting to note there. And that's how fundamentals work. There is no, if you're trying to predict what markets are going to do and based off of the data release at hand as soon as it comes out, that's not how you interpret fundamental data. That's looking at what they say and trying to execute in that same capacity. That's not how it works, right? Usually when you are interpreting data or where you're trying to forecast price movement, you're literally trying to evaluate an asset that is underpriced and you're hoping for the value to eventually be priced into the market, right? So you're having to get in early and then get out when the market hits that perceived value. So by definition, when you're trading the catalyst, as soon as the data release comes out, and then everyone expected the data release to come out at a certain price area, and it does, by definition, the market is not going to move, right? So we're going to continue talking about fundamentals, and we're going to go deeper and deeper into fundamentals, and I got something real crazy for you guys coming up in the next few days or so in regards to the full breakdown of how to interpret fundamental data. So that was what we were looking like over there on the Euro USD. Here you go again, Euro JPY. You can see that same sell side move there. Again, markets were just really surprised. Here you go again. This is actually the Aussie USD. We'll start talking about the Aussie USD in a second, but let's head back over and let's take a look over here at the Euro USD. All right, Euro USD. So when we're talking about the Euro USD currently, right now, let's take a look. So markets trading back down here at these structures. Let's look at the higher time frame real quick just to establish us on these monthly levels. I want to draw the fib up from low to high. Where are we looking at? Boom. Okay, markets came back down into this wick here. We thought markets were going to trade back down into that previous wick, and it ended up doing so. But now it's just about, okay, is it going to fill the wick to entirety? Are markets going to trade lower, especially after the Brent, after the data just came out? We still have some more things that Draghi has to say over the next few days or so, but that could potentially start to make markets move sell side for the euro as well. But at the end of the day, markets could hit right back on this 50% retracement level. This is if that US dollar starts to gain some strength. And the fact that rate hikes may not be happening for the euro for quite some time, you might have people cycling out of the euro over the next few months. Right? You might have some individuals saying, I don't see profit potential or buy side opportunities for the euro, even if it's just for the next 3 months, even if it's for the next 2 months, that's a buying opportunity for if you're playing another pair. So that's a selling opportunity for euro, but that's a buying opportunity for the euro
relative to the US dollar. So we want to be buying that US dollar relative to that euro, right? So again, if markets can roll sell side back down into this 50% level, it's over here to the weekly time frame. Looking at this weekly, you guys can see if that makes things a little bit more clearly. We have been consolidating at this market low here. Okay, so markets ran sell side, massive amount of buy side came in. It was a new price area. Markets, when they hit back off on that low, we knew that there would be more volatility in this price area, right? We were saying, hey, when markets get back down to this previous structure low that happened back in Q3, Q4, early Q4 2017, we're going to get more volatility. We're going to get more whiplashing. That's what we expected, and that's exactly what we're seeing. And you don't want this volatility to whip you out the move, right? Because volatility is directionless. It's really hard to catch any kind of swing style position. If you're day trading, sure, you can find some day trading opportunities. Just rationalize and understand exactly where you are in regards to this previous structure, even though we're looking at a weekly perspective. I suggest you play on that 4 hour, play on that hourly, and, catch some of those 50, 60 point runs of the recent structures. And you guys can see that there were some structures up here at the $1.18 flats where you could probably assume markets start to turn around a bit. Here, let's head over into the daily. And so if we're looking at the daily, again, look at all of the price action up here in this price area where you can see markets kind of stopping and starting, markets consolidating right above the price area, markets here hitting right up on the price area again on the $1.18 levels. And again, when you're assuming that there's going to be more volatility coming into the marketplace, once you get back down into this structure, then that's potentially where your that's where your support and resistance starts to come into play, where you start to rationalize, okay, well, if we're going to get more volatility, where's the buy side, where are markets going to trade up into? If this is a non-sentiment based market reaction, then I'm not going to assume a sustained move, right? We're not going to assume markets running back up potentially to the $1.20s. That might be asking for a little bit too much. But if we're assuming volatility and that we're getting to the low here, we could definitely end up existing back up into the 18s, potentially back up into the 19s. But we obviously never got to the 19s. But it just makes sense that the market is capable of at least achieving those price areas. So again, right now, I do see that we potentially can't see this euro sell side. All right, I need some more structure. It would have been nice to start liquidating or start executing some sell side positions up here in these highs. But I think we will get a slight reentry. It does look like markets may come back inside of that previous Thursday session, which means we might be able to start to catch some price action up here in these highs. But it's a good sign to see that price is available down here in these $1.15s, even at this time. All right. So potentially, is there a short-term little push up into structure that you might be able to catch? I think so. There might be an opportunity to see this market trade from the $1.1630s, potentially up into the $1.1730. So there's around 100 pip of buy side potential that is possible that you might be able to play in throughout this week. Just remember that the Fed meetings and the ECB meetings may add a slight bit of volatility. And so you just want to be careful. But I definitely think that before this week is out, I don't see why we obviously can't test the $1.17s. And then even outside of that, you could potentially start pushing back up into the $1.17 lows, which will represent, the $1.1720s and things of that sort. So that's a little buy opportunity that I'm seeing. Long term, I would like to see these markets push sell side. I just need the entry. So, whether we're playing the breakout sell side, don't want to play the breakout, would like to start looking at some sells down here in structure. Thing about that is I love that situation because if markets start to trade back up into the 18 lows, the 18 mids, then we could immediately liquidate the position and just kind of step back a bit. But if we start placing sells all the way down here in these lows, then we give the market a lot of leeway to run around a bit. We might be able to have better risk-reward ratios if we can have the market trade up into structure just a little bit before we start to get that sell-off. Again, breakout trading is for momentum-based strategies. If we don't think there's going to be so much momentum, then at the end of the day, we might want to just take our time and wait for the pullback a bit. All right, and I think that might be the case here. So I would rather wait for the pullback, have markets trade back up into structure before I start catching that sell. So for the short term, let's look for a buy side move up into structure here for that Euro U. Potentially we could clunk out at the 17 mids, 17 lows. And if we start to immediately run sell side here on this Euro USD and we just break lower, Potentially we can take a breakout, but it's going to be very important to move stops really quickly, just because we don't know how soon markets can turn around and suck right back up into this structure here. All right, so that's something I am looking out for. So GBP CHF, that's really the only other pair that I'm really liking right now, GBP CHF. And we already have the support and resistance kind of drawn up. We're still keeping an eye on it. Currently right now, if we can have markets trade up into the 32 lows, the price area that I'm really looking for is a breakout around the 3230s, 3240s. If I can start to see price come up into the 3240s, because that's where my 23% retracement is, then we'll probably start executing long in this GBP CHF. Now, this would mean that we need some pound strength or some CHF weakness. All right, and we do have some pound data coming out on Wednesday, and I think we do have a meeting coming out on Thursday. I think that's when most of the pound data is going to be released. Okay, so this is a pair, pretty simple. I love the structure on it. I think markets moved really fast. I see that we've came back down into the base of a previous move. We've consolidated around that price area. Pound hit pretty hard. I think there will be a little bit more skewed to talk positively just based off of the fact that things are so negative at the moment. I don't see them exacerbating the fact that pound is not doing so well. They may speak lightly, and if they do, we will get an up move up into structure. This again is potentially another scenario where we might want to move stops kind of quick because that CHF is gaining some strength at the moment. Wanted to show you guys the pound NZD as well. This pound NZD is somewhat prime and ready for the same thing. So again, whether you want to play that on the CHF or whether you want to play that on the NZD, you guys will notice here that if this pound starts to gain some more strength, we will see a break from this consolidated low up into this structure. We already saw the move happen for the pound AUD. Take a look. Look at that. Again, consolidated low. Markets ran sell side, consolidated low. This was because of Aussie weakness, though, right? So we haven't had too much movement on the pound. This was because of Aussie weakness. Aussie weakness made markets break back up into that structure. Again, I think some pound strength can exacerbate that move, but I would love to see it over there on the pound CHF, or we could play that same move over there on the pound NZD. All right, so those are the pairs I'm looking for right now. We have some big data coming out, again, in regards to what's happening for the NZD. There's a current accounts data release that's going to be coming out on Thursday. That is mañana. So make sure you guys stay out for that. Again, if they come in at a deficit, that might play well over there on the pound NZD, right? So bad data for the NZD, we'll have that pound NZD run higher. Great data for the GBP later this week, we'll have that pound NZD run higher. If we don't get either or, then the move just won't play out. So I'm going to be talking about that more over in the Top Trader Alerts. You guys can join down below. The link is in the bio. If you guys have any other questions, let me know. All right. Good luck, folks. Let's see what we get this week. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.